Assalamu alaikum and welcome to Perspective. Of course, we all know today's Minorities Day. We'll be talking about the role of minorities, but also specifically, of course, be talking about the Qaid's vision as he elucidated on the 11th of August. The speech that was made by Qaid-e-Azam, of course, the protection of minority rights. The Prime Minister today spoke about this. Also, the constitutional provisions that grant all minorities the same freedoms within Pakistan and the rights that which the state of Pakistan upholds each and every day. We'll be talking about this. We'll be talking about the contribution of minorities to Pakistan, to the state of Pakistan, and the equality, the equal status that the Constitution and the state of Pakistan grants them. Even as we speak today, I have with me Christopher Sharif, who is a social activist. Thank you for being with us. We'll also be talking to him particularly about his work on perception management, Paigam-e-Pakistan, which is an initiative of the government, and also Pakistan poverty alleviation. With respect to that, the provisions and what the state is doing, what the government is at this time taking, the measures that are underway to ensure that minorities have equal status, and also that of course how important perception management particularly is in this day and age, where we encounter a lot of problems related to this. I also have with me Samuel Bashir, who is a social activist, to talk about the role the minorities have played and are continuing to play in Pakistan, whether it is in the field of the social sciences or it's in the field of working for people at this time. We've seen a lot of contribution, we've seen a lot of institutions lately also rise up, and of course earlier on also there are some landmark institutions at this time in the country that were started by minorities, the steps that have been taken, all of that today on Perspective. Let me start with Samuel Bashir Sahab here.
Yes.
Samuel, there is, of course, we've seen, the speech of Qaid-e-Azam on the 11th of August and the freedom, the minorities. That speech, of course, we take a lot of strength, we take a lot of our, start from that speech, because it's the cornerstone of what the Constitution also says about the minority rights and its freedoms. And it's also what, his vision that is later translated. How do you look at that?
Actually, Jinnah acknowledged the significant contribution made by the minorities to Pakistan's independence and called upon them to continue playing their role in nation building. He emphasized that the unity of all the citizens, regardless of religion, was essential for the country's progress.
Right. And of course, we've seen lately that that role that the minorities have played and are continuing to play is integral to the cornerstone of any democracy as we see around the world. Christopher, how do you look at things? And of course, I also want to particularly talk about perception management, because we know that there are issues that have proved challenging in that regard lately.
I would start from the Qaid's speech. Basically, what I see is, please excuse me, but you see it as a cornerstone, I see it as a lens. It is a lens that has magnified the concept of the Riyasat-e-Madina. Basically, the speech of our great Qaid is a reflection of that, and it has acted as a lens, and it has been magnified in the state of Pakistan. Pakistan, we all know, is a country that was made for the religious minorities of the combined India. And throughout time, the minorities of Pakistan the religious minority of Pakistan have not faced problems. There have been situations where there have been different incidents, but if you go into the genesis of those problems, they are always either personal problem or it is always a state sponsored problem. The second thing about perception is not a state sponsored initiative. The second is that our perception has been played upon badly and it has been corrupted by other actors. I still remember when we were young, celebrating Eid, celebrating other religious festivals, and from our Muslim and Hindu friend side celebrating with us was a common norm. But the norms have been rewritten, and now everything has come down to the otherness. This concept of otherness has brought us to a point where if we slightly feel a small difference with the person of our faith or of our province or of our nation, of our political discourse, at once we are reactive.
Is that what perception management
this is the perception disorder that has happened.
Okay.
So what we are trying to do is we are trying to bring people back to Pakistaniyat.
Okay.
We can be Sindhi, we can be Balochis, we can be Pashtuns, we can be Gilgiti, we can be Christians, Roman Catholic, Protestant, Evangelical, or we can be Shia, Sunnis, or we can be Nurbakhshis. But the fact of life is that we are all Pakistanis. We have to think, we have to operate as Pakistanis. This management of...
And this is an initiative of the government?
It is an initiative of all Pakistanis.
Okay.
It is an initiative of all organizations. It is the initiative of the heart of Pakistan. Expressed through the state, of course, expressed through organizations like Pakistan Poverty Alleviation. For example, if there's an incident of some incident regarding a religious minority, it's get a hype, it gets a great hype in the international and national media. But just look at my church, the church that I go to St. Joseph Cathedral. The renovation has been sponsored by the state. There's a neighboring church, Christ Church, the renovation has been sponsored by the state. Just a few days back in Bagh Sardara, Rawalpindi, an old Gurdwara has been renovated and it has been opened. It is all being done by state sponsorship. I will like to share one thing over here. If you look at the attitude and the expression of the state of Bharat and that of Pakistan.
I want to come to that because we've recently seen Modi's India, we've seen the kind of clamp down on minorities, we've seen, as far as Christians are concerned, we've seen the out and out attitude overall, and I think that is also reflected in the results of the elections as far as Modi is concerned. The Hindutva doctrine, which is very different from the way that we, minorities here in Pakistan are treated. And the reality of across the border and Pakistan, there's a stark difference there. I want to talk about this. How do you feel as far as protection is concerned, the equality is concerned? How would you look at that as far as Pakistan and that protection of minorities is concerned?
As far as protection for the minorities is concerned, I think we are slightly more protected as compared to our Muslim brothers and sisters. Be it Christmas, be it Easter, be it Holi, be it Diwali, be it any religious festival, the police and the establishment is always there to guide and protect us. The question arises when different incidents happen, incidents of hatred happen. Those are isolated incidents and mind you, not sponsored by the state, but they are either individual incidents or they are incidents provoked by certain foreign factors. So as far as the state is concerned, as far as normal Pakistani is concerned, we are always protected.
And as far as the state is concerned, like you said, as far as renovation of churches is concerned, places of worship for minorities are concerned, do you find the Pakistan state, respectful? Do you find them sensitive? Do you find them wanting to work and help in trying to maintain and ensure that places of worship are comfortable?
There is not a single question raised about it, not a single eyebrow raised about it. We are absolutely comfortable and the state looks at us as equal citizens.
Exactly.
There is absolutely no problem. The problem is only when it is a foreign interference. Nothing from the state.
Do you see a foreign interference come from, I mean, for example, across the border there is some interference or there's some perpetration to create unrest from time to
Basically,
time?
I'm not an expert to share from where this interference is coming. We have certain government offices
Yes,
that can shed light on it. But naturally, people who don't want Pakistan to be socially cohesive, people who don't want, nations who don't want Pakistan to be nationally integrated, are the forces that are putting fodder to this problem.
And otherwise, of course, I want to include Samuel in this also. Samuel, there is, you know, as far as contribution of minorities are concerned, could you tell us a little bit about how Christians have contributed, for example, to the overall framework? We, of course, we know institutions like, for example, the FC College in Lahore. There are numerous institutions which are, you know, of course, the contribution there is certainly paramount. But how do you look at that now in today's Pakistan?
Today's also minorities, I think, working a lot. In Pakistan Army, in Air Force, in medical, in educationists. Most of the education institutions are well known, and all politicians, even army officials, children studied there.
Fair enough. Let me go to Jaya Jageet, who is a social activist. Jaya, can you hear me? Ji, can you hear me? I think there's a problem with audio. I'm going to go back to Christopher. Christopher, as far as let's talk about perception management. You know, a few months ago, I think about a year ago, I may be wrong in the timeline, but there was an incident that involved, for example, you know, calligraphy, and there is, like you talked about, sensitivity to religion, sensitivity to any faith, knowledge about it, being able to understand, and, you know, like you said, being sensitive to each other's faith. How would you look at this work that you are doing, and what problems have you encountered? Are you facing you know, challenges, or is it have you seen a positive change overall? And how many months has it been? How do you look at, I mean, could you tell us?
This is my 8th year in this work.
Okay,
yes,
fair enough.
And the people of Pakistan, the Christians, the Muslims, the Hindus, the Kalashas, the Baha'is, the Nurbakshis, the Pathans, the Punjabis, the Sindhis, all, they're all very beautiful people. And when I say beautiful, it means beautiful of heart. It is just a matter of a small problem that these foreign hands have played up with their cognitive order. They have played with the way they think and they react. That is what these elements have worked upon. And we have reached a stage where, from as a nation or as a religious group or as a province group, like thinking as a whole is one thing, but we have stopped thinking that. We have started thinking as a mob. So when you see, when you have a mob of 20, 30, 40, 50 people, one person puts up a slogan or something or shouts something, and the rest of the group follows that. This mob mentality that has developed within us. And what they have done is they have focused on people who are from marginalized community, people who are deprived, people who are slightly economically, socially frustrated. They play upon them, and that is where they propagate their narratives, and the mobs come up with irrational behavior.
And that is what you target, that irrational behavior with this perception management.
Yes.
Let me come back to you on that. I have with me Jaya Jageet. Jaya, can you hear me now?
Yes, okay.
We're talking about the role of minorities within Pakistan. We're talking about the contribution that minorities continue to play and have historically played in the foundation of Pakistan and even today. A little bit, we're also talking about mob mentality and the fact that, you know, as far as the overall religious freedoms that the state gives each and every one of us, and that the state safeguards. How do you look at this? We're talking about perception management and how it aims to target the mob mentality wherever it surfaces.
Glad that we are having this particular conversation on minorities today. I'm not sure if you have already discussed this, but minorities they were a different part of creation of Pakistan, and we have seen that how the Jinnah others who were there not only as a minister, as supporters of Eli, but as Jinnah, people who were there recently in my professional study, most of them were not.
Jaya, I think there's still a problem with audio. We'll just try and reconnect with you after just now and then talk to you a little bit more about this. Christopher, we were talking about perception management. You're saying that it's been 8 years. Have you seen a reduction in this, or do you say that there is?
Yes, they are very positive signs. Actually, the thing is, what went wrong in 3 to 4 decades cannot be healed within few years. It will take decades, but things are going very good. And one of our prime focus is of social cohesion, of even the religious minorities have developed an inward approach.
Okay.
They are becoming more and more of introvert societies. So one is to break them from the inside, and the second is social interaction, social discourses.
You're talking about living, breaking, reclusive. In a sense, you're saying that if they
it is diapraxis that we have to work upon.
Okay.
It is living together, laughing,
but
enjoying
festivals
together.
or, for example, which include, like you said, inclusiveness, which include all faiths, or which unite us in that regard. Of course, Pakistan is one thing that unites us. There's no denying that. But also uniting us in, for example, any kind of festivals we see. Earlier on, we were also looking at not separation, so to speak. Are you also organizing such festivals?
Yes, we are working at so many tiers that just to explain this, you will need to have another program. So we are working at the grassroots level, which includes the temple, the Gurdwara, the church level also. We are working at mid-level also, which includes the lawyers, the civil society, the mid-level opinion makers, and we are working at policy level also. So all tiers have to be intervened at the same time. And yes, please, after you.
There is also, these tiers. I would like you to explain this a little bit also. And as far as policy is concerned, do you have all the help from policy makers in this regard? Because we also have good policy makers from the minorities, and there is representation there. And overall, do you find the attitude amenable? Do you find them receptive to your concerns there?
Yes. As far as the policies are concerned, as far as the policy makers are concerned, it's not a problem. You bring up a point, in nations problems come up, erupts. A problem erupts, you sit with them, you talk with them, you interact with them, you make them realize that this is a problem. So problem with the policy maker is not a problem. The problem lies on the road. The problem lies with the chaiwala, the problem lies with venture man, the problem lies with the normal day-to-day street people. It is at that level where this mob mentality has to be taken out of their minds and hearts, and Pakistaniyat has to be put back into them.
So how do you target the mob mentality, for example? I mean, what are the measures that you are taking?
To different interactions. There are social interactions, there are religious festival interactions, there are school and university and college.
Are you organizing seminars at
Yes, organizing seminars, organizing workshops.
What about awareness?
Awareness is done through these activities. It is not only awareness. One is awareing each other, and the second is bringing people together. We have had experiences where when our Muslim brothers and sisters have had an interaction and a social interaction, they have come up with the feedback where they have said that it was our first interaction with a Hindu, with a Sikh, with a Christian. So it is not only a very targeted awareness campaign, it is just bringing people together. They eat together, they enjoy the festival together, and they know we are all Pakistanis. They know a Hindu can also be a good Pakistani, a Christian, a Kalasha, and a Sikh can also be a good contributing Pakistanis. It is just bringing people together.
And in terms of your interaction at all levels, when you talk about intelligentsia, you talk about the role that, for example, writers can play, or social activists like yourself also, and overall the civil society can play. Have you encountered any issues, any problems there, or you think overall people are of course wanting to work in this area?
There's a problem in Pakistan when you interact with the civil society or any group. The first is they are slightly less receptive.
Okay.
The moment you have one or two interactions and though they come to know your true motives, people are comfortable. As I said, the people of Pakistan are a group of very beautiful people, and beautiful not of faces but beautiful of heart. So we are all a very beautiful people, we are logical people, we know reason. It's just that the policy makers keep on doing their contribution, the civil society keep on doing their contribution, and we bring people together.
Okay.
People interact with each other, people learn from each other, and people should know each other's contribution. And as we say, people should also know their parameter, where to stop.
I want to talk about some of the problems also, that we face as a society. It's not just, of course, our focus is minorities today, but overall the attitudes permeate other areas also, the attitudes that overall of inclusiveness and have to change with awareness, and that will then transcend into minorities, that will affect the minorities also. Samuel, is there, have you encountered problems in interaction with regard to this, or you're happy with
the response, but some areas in schools,
yes,
like syllabus should be changed, and hate material should be wave off from there.
You're saying that perhaps more
according to the law 22A should be implemented with the true spirit.
Okay, fair enough.
I've got good news for Samuel Saab, if you allow me a minute.
Please.
A syllabus for the religious minority of Pakistan has been formed.
No, I'm not talking about the religious minorities. I'm talking about the Pakistan studies. I'm talking about the English. I'm talking about the Urdu. All lessons
more
are
inclusive, yes.
more than literature, more emphasize on religious.
Right. Of course, I understand. I think I want to hear more about also the changes. Is there a specific syllabus now, or had there changed?
Yes, there is a special syllabus designed. Like previously, from class 1 to 12th, the non-Muslim students would be either studying Islamiyat, or they would be taking up ethics. A new syllabus has been developed. The notification for the federal government has been given, and naturally the Punjab Book Board and the Sindh and KPK will take it on later. A syllabus has been developed for from class 1 to 12 for the Christian, for the Kalasha, for the Sikh, for the Baha'is, for the Hindus, and for the, I'm missing out one minority, for all 6 minorities. It has been developed, and it has not been developed by the government. It has been developed by their respective religious leader. I will give you an example. The Christian syllabus has been developed. The task was given to the National Catholic Education Commission, and they were tasked to include 2 Salvation Army experts, 2 Church of Pakistan experts, 2 FGA, 2 Assemblies of God. So it was even interdenominational. And 2025 this syllabus will be in federal government schools and colleges. So things are sluggish, slow,
but they're changing.
They are changing.
It's not implemented yet.
2025 is the notification. 2025 will start next year, na? Yes.
So that's a huge step forward.
It's a huge step forward.
And it's something that the minorities have been asking for a while. So I think that the more we say, the more we say about it is I think it's not enough. We need to tell people that it's going to be an initiative that the minorities have been asking for, and it's something that accomplishing it is a huge deal.
I would like to add one thing more. Basically, the problem in Pakistan is less of religious. The problems are always given a religious color. Basically, the problem is socio-economic frustration. It is the socio-economic frustration that brings up problems. And when these problems come up, if one party is a religious minority and the other party is a religious majority, and the balance is equal, naturally then they play the religious card. Then it takes the colors of religious hatred. But basically the problem is socio-economic frustration.
So, in your opinion, I mean, dealing with that issue alone, you know, minus the minority issue would be more helpful. But of course, you know, the two are combined in the way, you know, they are treated, in the way that they are used.
So the tapestry of the fabric of our society is such knitted that you can't take it out. But I'm just saying that the igniting factor is socio-economic, and that is where organizations like Pakistan Poverty Alleviation, organizations like Caritas Pakistan.
What is the Pakistan Poverty Alleviation? It targets this socio-economic disparity in particular?
It targets basically the economic prosperity, and in targeting the economic disparity, it also has factors of social cohesion and national integration, and it has a very good focus on people who are living on the poverty or below the poverty line, the flood effectives. And it is not a question of the religious minority, they work across the board. No? The beneficiaries are Muslims, Christian, Hindus, the beneficiaries are Pakistani.
But do you think that, Christopher, overall in the world, we've also seen recently in other areas of the world, these kind of riots happen. We've seen, you know, perhaps they also were fueled by economic challenges that a state faces, or, you know, whether it's intolerance. But do you think all over the world things are perhaps, this is a challenging kind of environment overall as far as
all over the world people have become more hyperactive.
Okay.
They have become more expressive, and they have not only become more expressive verbally, they have become more expressive violently also. Na? So it is an international trend that has come up, and of course it has happened in Pakistan also, it has happened elsewhere also.
But it's also because of the economic challenges that, again, like you said, is it about the disparity? Because when you target a particular segment of you know, particular segment in society, whether it is those that migrate from a country, or whether it is, you know, those from a particular religion, does it have to do with economics? Do you think the root cause?
Economic is one of the root causes.
Okay.
Economics is always one of the root causes, then it can be, there can be other factors also.
Okay. But in terms of for example, in Canada also, you know, in some areas we've seen overall, even those nations which were thought to be the most tolerant in the world are now, you know,
like England,
exposed to, that's what I mean, they've been exposed to challenges. So what do you think is the root cause there, for example? Is it also, you know, unrest?
I think extremism, religious extremism, creating
everywhere.
hype. Yes.
And that religious extremism all over the world is perpetrated by different causes, like, you know, Christopher mentioned that these are, you know, in some cases it's economy, in some cases it's something else.
Yes.
But as far as Pakistan is concerned, as far as legislative participation, for example, in, you know, government, political contributions is concerned, we've seen a lot of policy makers, you know, extend themselves, perhaps, you know, to a huge degree. Are you happy with that interaction? Are you satisfied with them, you know, playing a significant role in advocating for minority rights within their communities?
Yes.
We've seen a lot of
we have seen a dramatic change, the quantum of change that has come in Pakistan concerning the religious minority of Pakistan, and the behavioral change, what was 10 years before is not today. Things are not perfectly good, they will take time. As I said, things went bad in 2 to 3 decades. The cure will also be in 2 to 3 decades, but at least the direction is right now. A lot of work still has to be done. Even as far as the constitution is concerned, there are certain things that have to be revisited, because constitutions are always evolving. A nation can never have a stagnant constitution. A lot of improvements have to be made, but my stand is that at least people have started behaving in a much positive way now.
If we look at the preamble to the constitution, it gives us a lot of insight into what Quaid-e-Azam's vision was as far as minorities are concerned. You know, they are extremely forthright, they're extremely giving in terms of the equality between minorities and all religions is right there. What his vision was, every time we are closer to the Independence Day, of course we talk about how Pakistan is evolving, it's changing for the better, but we also talk about the challenges that Pakistan faces today. And of course in a changing environment there are new challenges.
Yes.
And I think for minorities also every day, because of the changes overall in the world, there are new challenges.
In the present context, the challenges are non-conventional.
Okay.
We are not equipped, we don't have the learning to handle them. It is our resilience as a nation, as religious group, and as an individual. It is our resilience that matters. We have to be resilient Pakistanis. That is the only way out of these unconventional challenges. Be it any organ of the government, be it any organization of the civil society, or be it a common child in a school, the challenges are very different. The challenges are not what they used to be.
Okay.
So resilience comes in, and Pakistanis are a very resilient nation.
With the change, you mentioned changes, with social media, with so much of unfiltered content now available all over the world, to everyone, that also has brought about its own challenges, and those challenges exist within the domain of minority rights, hatred, extremism also. Isn't that true?
It is
how to
wonderful.
filter it, how to educate people on this. I think that must be a part of your perception management also.
Yes, that is something where the family can play a very important role.
Okay.
The basic unit, the family. It is how a family trains its children. It is the formation of the children at the family level that matters. And we are also focusing on parenting management also. And it is this place, it is the family, it is the parenting, where the formation of a child can either make a child a hero, a very loving person, or it can make a person a thief or a terrorist. So at the family level, at the very basic unit level, the formation has to be very good, and this is one area where Paigam-e-Pakistan and Sahibane-Pakistan are also working.
And what about, as far as awareness is concerned, starting from children, Paigam-e-Pakistan, is it also infiltrating the school system? How does it work?
It is not infiltrating, it is co-working with others.
Okay, and does it also in schools?
Yes, it is in schools. Like, it is in a way, it is not only just that you say Paigam-e-Pakistan and it does everything. Paigam-e-Pakistan is our national narrative,
Okay.
and it has to be propagated. It has Dukhtarane-Pakistan for the feminist group of Pakistan.
Okay.
Then it has Sahibane-Pakistan for the religious minorities of Pakistan. So each group is working at its own level. It is not only that you target schools and everything will be good. It's not that you target the policy makers and everything will become good.
It has to be
everywhere. In totality, each one, the least and the top, each one has to be engaged on a self-motivation way.
As far as the role of minorities in strengthening, we've seen, whether we talk about the Prime Minister, we talk about the President, there have been, statements, we talk about the armed forces, their acknowledgement of invaluable contribution of minorities we've seen. In your opinion, as far as, for example, the freedoms that are granted to minorities are concerned, how would you rate them at this time?
I've never thought about it. We are free. We have churches, we have mandirs, we have gurdwaras, we have centers for the Baha'i community. The Kalashas are living happily. I've never thought of the question of freedom.
You're saying that it's not really an issue.
The issue is when terrorism.
Extremism, I think. Issue is
Extremism.
which is a mindset.
Okay.
It should be a change. It should be changed, and we should work on it.
And that is what I'm talking about. I think perception management is a part of that, dealing with that extremism that has seeped into all societies to an extent. I think the world, no society is completely alien to this.
That is what I was about to say,
Ji.
that the radical expression is what matters.
Okay.
Churches are safe, gurdwaras are safe, mandirs are safe. It is when a radical expression comes in.
Okay.
And mark my words, in all the cases, you will always find foreign interference. There is not even a single case that has been taken place without foreign interference. It is the foreign interference that provokes our innocent brothers and sisters, and very sorry to say, they dance to their music. It can either be radicalism, it can be fanatism, or it can be economics also. So it is
whatever the vulnerable.
Jadawala,
Ji.
what happened? In
Isolated
Shantinagar,
incidents, yes.
what happened? Most of the few months back, if you listen,
Yes.
see
There have
Nazir
been
Masih in
incidents,
Sargodha,
yes.
what happened? We are not comfortable in extremism scenario, I think.
But do you think that this extremism is, do you think there is effective management of this kind, targeting the extremism? In your opinion, are we working towards it, Samuel? Or do you think that, you know, we do see in a society, we talk about these incidences, and of course I'm not minimizing them, but if by and large we are headed in the right direction, then perhaps we're doing something right.
Need to some legislation to
Okay.
control all this.
Okay.
Especially to protect minority rights, we have to.
You think more legislation?
More
is needed?
legislation to protect minority rights.
Christopher, do you think you know, is there some work being done, for example, you know, by you know, for perhaps amendments or for you know, perhaps more legislation on granting freedoms? Maybe more research or work.
The laws are there.
Okay,
The law doesn't ensure protection when you have people with mob mentality.
Okay.
So if there's a mob coming towards me, the law cannot protect me.
Okay.
It is the change of mindset that will protect me. I was just listening to Samuel Saab and you. You must have programs on madrasa reforms also.
Yes.
The amount of madrasa reforms that has been done, if people come to know about it, it will put a smile on the nation's face. The madaris are not the same that used to be, which were nurseries of hatred
Yes,
and all.
yes.
Everything has been changed too much. Of course, I will repeat this thing, that the results will not come in a day.
You're saying that it has to
Yes.
be gradual, we
It-
have
it
to
will
take
be
our
gradual.
society forward,
It
we
will be
have to,
gradual.
you know, educate them, we have to, it's about tolerance.
There,
and how much
there can be
tolerance.
many places where for a certain thing you might not have a law. There might not be a legal statement for it. But if the mindset of the people is positive, still bad things will not happen. So it is the mind and the heart of a simple common person that has to be redirected towards social cohesion, towards national integration, and towards a trust. Okay, if something wrong has been done,
The
a
state will protect you.
the person should have a trust. Okay, this person will go to the state's offices and justice will be done. If this person, if the judge has said the person is not guilty, then the people should have trust. Okay, he is not guilty, because there is a lack of trust. So it also acts as a multiplying factor to the mob justice also.
So you're saying that that trust is integral to any kind of tolerance, whether it's minorities overall or not. Thank you so much for being with us today, Christopher Sharaf. Thank you for talking to us, Samuel Bashir. Thank you for joining us today on this very important day of Minority Day, and the protection of minorities is extremely important to any society. We spoke about some of the measures that are currently underway. We spoke about particularly about perception management, which I feel is an extremely important part of this initiative, whereby it takes account of mob mentality. It targets the perception of people to isolated incidents. It targets the way that we deal with, tolerate each other, the way that we accept each other, the way that we acknowledge each other and our different faiths, religions and beliefs. We spoke about this extremely important part of a program, and the way that our society can be made more aware and more tolerant. Thank you so much for joining us today on Perspective.